What's up, bros? I'm a professor, and you guys saw the thumbnail. You know what's up. We're going to talk about graffiti and how it's part of life here in Mexico. It's actually part of life in sort of a delinquent area and an artistic area, okay? I like the artistic area, obviously. A lot of very talented people out here that do great murals. But then we get young little kids, jitterbugs, that come into our neighborhood and paint on our walls, and that ain't good because they have to have permission. And if they don't ask for permission, that is what's called falta de respeto. You guys that are here in Mexico don't have any idea or any clue what the rules of the street are. And I say that seriously as a fucking heart attack. If you don't know the rules, literal, like, back in the fucking hood days that you needed to ask for permission or whatever, and if you didn't, then you know what happened. And so this is literally just a marshmallow softball of a fucking problem. And it's only a problem because there's not enough, really, because out of artistic need to do some of this shit. But the problem is that they have to ask for fucking permission. You can't come and do a mural without permission. You need to take your fucking ass down the street and do your shit somewhere else, because that is lack of respect for the people who live directly here. You cannot come into here and just start tagging here, because this is the process that is so hilarious. Listen to this, you guys. I got some fresh squeezed. I'm not sure what this is. I think it's maybe it's papaya or something. No, it's like honeydew or melon or something like that, or cantaloupe. I think it's cantaloupe. That's what it is. I don't like cantaloupe, but it's good anyway. So the funny thing about the street here is that if you do not literally have permission, you step into literally another gang's territory. Okay, so just so you guys realize that you are in Mexico now, you are not in fucking Kansas anymore. Around the corner from here, the police used to have their lights on all the time, and they would cruise through this little barrio right over here. And one night, I think the entire neighborhood of hoodlums attacked the police and like flipped the cop car, the cop truck, the brand new ones over, and set it on fire. So when I say that you think you're safe in Mexico, you have got to be kidding. Because any bit of anything bad that could possibly happen to somebody, if you come here and you are just not paying attention, you're not taking cues from people, you are not being vigilant at all times. You have to be vigilant all the time. If you want to have nice things and not live in a gringo bubble where you're in some friggin' apartment in middle of Rico Gringolandia and they never leave. This is why these people think that 15-minute cities are good, because they think like safety to the next level. They're paranoid of men. That's another thing. They are paranoid of men. All the people who come over here, they're not paranoid of the women. They are paranoid of the men. When people come to visit Mexico, they are paranoid for their safety for, valid reasons. I'm not saying it's not, but it is literally like the old days or whatever, where you would go and talk to a woman and she goes, "Oh, I have a man." And you're like, "What are you talking about?" Anyway, this is another level. So some kids put a tag on the wall across the street from me. They didn't ask for permission. So that is where this whole neighborhood has its own legal system. And the legal system is that of punishment. It's like the 1970s here. And I have actually coined this program for anti-graffiti and incentivized it so that kids that want to paint can do murals on the days that we do murals. They can do spray paint, they can do airbrush, whatever they want to do. I don't care what they do. And they have a big white spot to do it. But you can't come and paint anywhere you want on this street. You can't do it. This is not like, some shitty part of Mexico. Where the fuck you think you are? Like, kids come from outside of this place, out of this colony. I mean, from way far away, and come here, went to the park and spray painted something in some corner somewhere. So we just painted the park. Literally just cut all the grass and painted the tables and all this shit because we renovated this park. So all the people in the park are thankful, finally. The people who are thankful are people who have also put time into that park. The problem with this park is that it was a very heavy duty place for delinquency. So if a guy wanted to go buy drugs, he went to the park. If a guy wanted to go pass out in the dirt, he could go to the park. If a guy wanted to go, fucking French kiss his girlfriend, he would go to the park. But what happened in 2010 is that drug addicts started coming to the park. And this is what they were doing with light bulbs. And what happened is the story that I was told is that all the mercury that was in the ground came from the junkies breaking light bulbs open to do meth. It doesn't make sense to me, but apparently that was a problem. So I combated the problem of the contaminated soil with activated carbon. I did every single day. I took a bucket, like a 5-gallon bucket of ashes and activated carbon, and I dumped it all over this park. Like everywhere you walk in this park, it looked like someone had dumped their fucking barbecue grill out, except my coals were teeny tiny. And it's all activated. And I put it down so that I could mix it into the ground. And then when it eventually rained, all the green came out. And everybody was like, Wedo, you are crazy. What are we going to do? The grass is too tall. The grass was all the way up to all the plants that we planted literally a month prior grew so tall that they came up to the kids' chests like this. I'm not exaggerating. These were not sunflowers. These were chia plants that we planted. You guys know what a chia is, right? Like you put the seeds in the fucking thing and it grows the afro out or whatever. And this is an actual plant that you can put in the ground and it'll grow instantly, okay? All you got to do is throw it on the ground and wait for it to fucking rain. When it rains, these things will jump up to about this tall in about a week. And then about this tall in about 3 weeks. By the time the chia seeds are ready, it has a flower on the top that's as big as my hand, slender, like this, and full of seeds. And it's actually a really pretty color purple. So I took it upon myself to be Mr. fucking Appleseed. Johnny Appleseed, you guys know that story, went around the United States planting apples. So I was Mr. Chia Plant. So what I discovered was that chias grow here in this part of Mexico. And you can go to the chia farms and buy literally 5 kilograms of chias for about $1.50. I'm exaggerating. But you understand, chias are one of these superfoods that grow and they produce omega-3s. Check that for me. Because if it's true, the nutrients in these chias have a chemical compound in them that works really well with human beings as far as absorbing water when you're running long distance or you're doing wrestling or if you're doing jiu-jitsu, so you don't get gassed out and you don't run out of water. You won't get dehydrated because the chia seeds gel. They absorb into the body like so much water and they hold it because there's this strange layer of like slimy stuff around these things when they become wet. So there's a reaction happening when a chia lands in the water. So when you plant chia plants, they grow just like those things in the 70s, those little toys or whatever. And we would put the chia seeds inside the form of whatever it was, and it would go chia. and it would grow a big plant. And what is awesome is that we have the renovated soil. By the way, I wanted to tell you how it is possible to get rid. Now, this is important that you listen to me if you like this kind of stuff. If you like to hear this sort of educational type of material, because this is something I'm actually good at. And I have gone a long, long time without talking about it. And that is water conservation. I've figured out something here in Mexico that people can do that'll literally stop the flooding. And it'll give people so much water for their own personal use that they can easily use on plants. Did you know I went to the nursery today? And I went there and I wanted to see if they had these specific type of like zucchinis and squash and pumpkins. And I really hit the jackpot last time because I got these really good type of calabazas. And they're zucchinis that are round like this. And they look like a baseball, about the size of a baseball, a little bit bigger. And it's a zucchini. And so the plant has these flowers that are really big. They're really, really big. But that is what's called a cover crop. So what I did with all the kids for 8 months, we built this compost pile. Every single day we were putting more and more mulch into this thing and more green leaves and fruits and vegetables and all kinds of stuff like that, and activated carbon on top of it. Never any manure or anything like that. We let this thing go hot, closed it up with just a lot of this like grass clippings and anything else. And then I poured some, what is it called in English? It's called levadura. If you guys know what levadura is, it's brewer's yeast. So I took a little bit of brewer's yeast and I mixed it up with some water. And then I sprinkled that brewer's yeast into the middle section of this compost pile. Within a day, it was 50 degrees, so probably 120 degrees. Then within 1 or 2 days, it was almost 200 degrees inside the compost pile. So it was a hot pile. And with that, we spread that all over the park. We built all kinds of little mounds, put circles, stones, everything, planted about 20-something trees. And the lawnmower guys came by and hit the fucking trees. I should have put posts up there and put something there. But we had so much chia that the kids were walking in like cornrows of chias. And what was awesome is that I was able to kind of, because I don't know anything about growing chias. And I figured, well, if they grow here, and my experience is you put the damn things in water and they grow, literally will grow on your head. You know what I'm saying? You can glue them to the roof of your car. They'll grow on anything. Anyway, the chia plants grow to about about a meter and a half, 150 centimeters. So we're looking at about like 60 inches. No, that's 5 feet. What am I saying? So smaller than 5 feet. Bigger than 3 feet. So you have to ask for permission to do graffiti here from people who do graffiti. You can't just come and bomb somebody's fucking wall. You have to have permission. And if you get a spot, you don't vandalize because that's fucking bullshit. And you'll catch a fade. The fade, it's the name of the program. And I'm completely serious about this. I might even have the letters printed up on reflective lettering that says the Turner Fade Program. No one knows what that means in English. But if you speak English and you know who Ike Turner was, then you'll know that Ike Turner was famous for, remember that song he sang? No, you don't remember shit. No, because he was beating Tina Turner's ass. He was abusing her and whatever his love got to do with it. So Ike Turner has a name for himself as a woman beater. But it's also this extra word that comes from prison. I don't know who invented this word. It's, I mean, it's a cool name. And that is called fade. Okay? Now, the word fade itself in the black community is similar to the haircut that I have right now. So this is almost a fade. If I was black, this would be kind of close to a fade. But I'm not black, and I have what is called a high and tight, the white boy version. See that? So anyway, they're very similar, almost identical. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, the haircut is going to do it because the Chads and the Tyrones have fucking united across the board. Except for the Kamala people, I don't understand that, but everybody has to have something, right? Hey, let them do their thing, whatever. So I say that the Ike Turner Fade program, so all I just did was just change the name and instead took Ike's name off of it because we don't want people to actually understand immediately what I'm saying, because we don't want to associate this program, which is stopping people from doing graffiti when they're not supposed to, with a woman beater named Ike Turner. Do you understand? Oh man, guys, listen, I hope that Ozzy can explain it to you guys better than I can. But Ike Turner was a famous musician. He was married to Tina Turner. He had beaten the shit out of her. And I don't want to associate the name of this program with Ike Turner because they'll immediately associate that with woman beating because it's not good. And I remember those days. These are not days that we're having today. There are people who are still a bit crazy, but you'd have to be crazy to hit a woman today, okay? I'm just putting it right there. Right now, we need to focus on our own selves and not doing anything to cause them any kind of anything. Let them just run like shit. Let them do whatever they want, right? That, unless they're yours. Then that is where I would say that you don't have to, anything has to do with Ike Turner. You don't have to Ike Turner fade anybody but another dude. So I would just cut the name off, Ike, and then just call this program the Turner Fade Program. So what does fade mean? And if I could read right now, I would read what Ozzy said about a fade. Because I can't read anything right now. My whole vision is whacked. I got to wear these glasses. Anyway, the Turner Fade Program in bright yellow letters basically means that in the event of some kind of degenerate stuff going outside, or if there's a thief, or if there's somebody doing or breaking into cars or stealing stuff, or, and in this case, spray painting, without permission. The weird thing is that they had this program a long time ago, but it was for other stuff. I think it was for selling drugs. But here, the only drugs that come through here is weed, and the rest of this stuff is like way down in a worse part of town than here. And so we have, excuse me, what am I saying? We, like I got a fucking mouth pocket. The municipality has taken all of my suggestions in regards to this park, because I personally don't have 10 or 20 guys to cut with weed eaters, and literally there was so much grass that grew from this park that they had to use pitchforks and put it into the back of basically a farm truck that was full to the top with grass. What made me kind of mad was that I needed some of that grass because they started raking. And I'm like, no raking, because if you rake off the compost, then you're left with whatever's underneath. However, we got lucky, because during the transition between putting all that compost down, planting all of those chia plants, planting all of those melons and all the stuff that we grew, What happened during that time was something magical. Because remember, the magic happens when you put that little bit of brewer's yeast into your compost pile. What happens is that there's more than just the breaking down of organic material. What's happening now is even more amazing because now we've provoked mycelium. Mycelium will grow under the ground and it's white, it's communicative, which means that it is the root system of fungus. The fungus works synergistically with other plants and soils that have been remediated. Dude, do you have any idea? It actually excites me to talk about this because this was a desert before. It was a desert and the ground was as hard as like the desert because when it rained, it just ran over the top. There were no plants, there were no grass, there was weeds that had thorns in them, and they had been there so long. There was some that were 6 feet in diameter. And they had these thorns on the bottom that go right through your shoe or puncture your tire. You have no idea how many times I've had to have my tire patched just going to the park because there were so many thorns. And then all dogs running through the park and they would come limping along and I would have to pull the thing out of their hand or their paw. They're like, oh man, poor Rocky. You guys remember Rocky? He lived right over here. Rocky had one of those in his paw. And I was like, Rocky, come here. And he came over to me. And I said, let me see that. And I really gently just went like this, went boop. And it came out. And man, he was so happy. This is the weird part. Rocky has a little girlfriend and she's a husky. And she's a bitch. She doesn't like me. She growls at me. She's always barking at me. I get down on one knee and I'm always, we were very, very affectionate with dogs here in Mexico. I know it sounds like, ew, but listen, I love dogs. And I'm going to pet dogs. I don't care what they look like. That dog would have dreadlocks. I will love that dog. Anyway, so I pull the thing out of his paw. The next day I see him at the park again. This is Rocky the dog. And he brings his little husky girlfriend with the blue eyes. And this time she's nice to me. And she's so nice. I'm petting Rocky like this, okay? I'm giving him, he's a little miniature little boxer mixed dog. Beautiful dog, big doll eyes. And I'm just petting this dog away. And he is so muscular. I just love hugging this dog. He is so much fun. And his little girlfriend comes over. I swear to you guys, she didn't bark one time. She came over to me and gave me a little kiss. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. All this time, this dog's been a bitch to me. And all I had to do was pull a thorn out and Rocky came over. So anyway, this is one of the reasons why I started working on this park. Because I was like, look at this, you guys. It's an empty park. It's abandoned. Look at this shit. The sign on it says renovated in 2010. It been spray painted over and it said Buddha and Deta and you know what I mean? So it's a shitty place. And everywhere you walked, there were thorns. That was just thorns and thorns and thorns. We have a very beautiful AstroTurf that we were going to turn into a mini golf course because we can. Anything I would like to do in this park, I can do if I want to. And it's a good thing because right now, all I have to do is just try to think of something that would be a good, positive thing. And a lot of times, whatever this presence is that's with me, sort of handles it. It handles it in advance. It's all good. Don't worry about anything. It's going to be okay. Here's your design. Problem is, we dropped the ball the other day because I actually didn't go, nuts. You know what I mean? Because kids are kids and stuff like that. So it's not like you can, do anything to anybody. But the locals will go and beat their papa's ass. They don't want to beat no kids up. They know their fathers and they'll go fucking beat their dads up. That's why I would like to introduce to you the Turner Fade program. Basically, it's a neighborhood watch program where you get to practice this one technique called where somebody catches a fucking fade. If somebody catches a fade once and they know why they caught a fade, there's a very good high percentage that the risk to reward ratio will be so skewed. This person would probably stop doing art altogether. So why I say, instead of, first of all, I'm not letting anybody paint shit here, not without permission. Number two is that we have a place over here that is all for murals, and we have sectioned off spots painted white for that reason. We even had contests, you guys. The winner got 5,000 pesos, like $250. So now here we are again, but in 2024. There is no fucking coronavirus shit anymore. I'm now gaining all of my muscle back from all the weight I lost. There's a lot to talk. There's a lot to talk about in terms of like your soil, your seeds, your fertilizers, everything that you need is literally the kitchen scraps. If you have chickens, these little motherfuckers are like little tractors. They're gonna plow the fields. Anytime you throw food into the chickens, they eat everything. It's not made out of metal. They will eat everything that you put in there. Doesn't matter what it is. Whole other chicken. They'll eat the whole motherfucker. Chickens are raptors. They have hollow bones. Hang on. I hear somebody yapping outside. Yeah. Well, whatever. By the way, you know what has sort of solved its own self? I don't want to talk about problems. I want you guys to understand that these are complaints, and they're not just coming from me. And when I say something about, this being a kind of a buzzword, see, people don't know what gentrification is, so they want to throw that word around a lot. See, really, the perfect example of what happened in Costa Rica, for example, the 2005 run of Costa Rica, I believe it was 2005. 2005-ish, this is like post 9/11, people are recovering from shit. 2005, people have like rental properties and homes, and they're like flipping houses and stuff, but it's still not the bubble. And just before the bubble, they sell all their shit and they move to Costa Rica. Well, cool thing about Costa Rica back in those days was for $15,000 you could buy a whole house. Because those places are all made out of cement. They mix it right there on site. They put these bars in. They do the real, so they have rebar. They are beautiful when they're done. Tile steps, whatever you want, all made out of cement. It's amazing work. And so when I see like the kind of work that can be done, but instead of the work that can be done, we get this mediocre bullshit like this. And see, this kid doesn't even know how much trouble he's actually in. And I'm serious about that. I don't think this guy actually knows how much fucking trouble he's in. Not with me. Oh my God, no. But he is in trouble. Whoever this guy is that is tagging without permission, he's got problems, first of all, for coming here at all. Second, for painting anything. The third and the worst offense of all time. And you guys think that would be stupid, but if you don't ask for permission, you're going to catch a fade. And if you guys don't know what a fade is, lately we've been seeing a lot of them. Sometimes with some talented people that actually know part of the Turner Fade program. The Turner Fade program, if you will, is basically it's a series of self-defense techniques written and orchestrated between this one guy and this other lady in sort of a not a deathmatch type of cartoony situation. Um, you know, sort of anime, basically. Over the top female with wild hair, he could fly, all that stuff. So there's a lot of rules that have to be abided by here in the fucking hood of Mexico. It's not a bad hood whatsoever. But I'm going to tell you that if I'm responsible for all of the gentrification here in this part of Mexico, because it was so bad before, it was like just 24 hours a day of bombs, 24 hours a day of people literally pulling on your door handle. And one guy stole like an overhead lamp on one of the trucks we had outside. And my dog was going crazy, la la la, la la la. So I knew something was up. When I went, he was still on the truck, and he went boogieing on around the corner. And I was like, damn. The guy from Colombia was here. The guy from Miami was here. They were so out of it that no one was going to come running with me. I could have caught that guy and really caught him in a bad situation. But I was thinking about it. I'm glad I didn't, because I don't want to lose the fade points, because you can't just use the Turner fade program on anybody all the time. Okay, it needs to be well disciplined, that's for sure. There's a reason why in the Bible it says the meek shall inherit the earth. Meek is not what you think it is. That's a bad, really a translation to what you consider what that would be. On the contrary, the kids are learning how to rollerblade, they're learning how to read in English, swim in a swimming pool, and compete against other kids. Now, I'm not trying to compete with the other two groups of kids, because the one group is way over town and they have 100 or so years of being in a foundation. The Boy Scouts is another one, and then the Caimanes is another one. There's a bunch of Cruz Roja. You gotta know Cruz Roja. Cruz Rojas has a team of theirs. My whole point is that we need to teach these kids everything we know. Every single thing that we know of craft, of trade, needs to be taught to the first kids nearby. If you think that there are some people that are good at guitar, but they burn their houses down with mattress and drugs and shit. And yet, we idolize these people. We idolize the stupid. So what I see outside is actually a hot trash fire. It's not a masterpiece. It is a masterpiece of shit, and I don't like it. But I need to have paint before I can do anything to it. So there is a little bit of a mental torture going on right now. On the wall where this guy's tag went is the same picture that's in the thumbnail. Now you tell me, would that be embarrassing to you? Be embarrassing to me. This is a culture of people who love to lie and then embarrass each other. It's a weird thing. I don't understand the whole... But it's something that Kevin Samuels talked about. You guys remember the sign language, right? So when they try and talk to you in sign language, it's just to belittle you. Nothing else. It's not because they want you to feel safe or whatever. They do not give a fuck about you as long as you are the bullet stopper for her. That is exactly how this works. You have to be willing to die for your family. You got to be willing to die on this hill of your gated community. You have to be able to defend yourself. You have to be able to live long enough so that I'm not going to have health problems and whatever. So you need to get methylated types of DNA exams. This will predict your death. It'll tell you what's deficient in your body. It'll tell you what family history you have of any disease whatsoever that ever existed, all from blood. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you realize is that guy's in big trouble. He just the worst 30 seconds of his fucking life. I'm the professor. I'm out.